and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I'm Aisha, and in today's episode we will be talking about whether the POSH Act, that is the Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act for Women, can it be applied with the political parties, or can the POSH Act be applied in politics? Now let me give you a scenario. If you are a working individual and go to work in a company daily, then the owner of the company is your employer and you are an employee. And if you work in a restaurant and go on a daily basis to that restaurant, then the owner of the restaurant is your employer and you are an employee. But if you take the scenario of a political party, you might not get it. You might not get the answer. Who is your employer and whether you are employee there or not? And that is why the point of can the POSH Act be applicable in the political parties has been raised again. So this is what we will be discussing today. So first of all, about the points of discussion, first we will be looking at the news, then what is the POSH Act, then the political party scenario, or can POSH Act be applied to the political parties or not? What is the role of the Election Commission of India? And in the end, a prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 1, that is Society, and General Studies paper 2, that is Act, because POSH Act is included in this. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel. The news talks about, could the POSH Act apply to political parties? So can the Prevention of Sexual Harassment case be applied to the political parties? This is the big question as we move forward. Before that, Drishti IAS Mukherjee Nagar classes has now been shifted to Noida, and the admissions for it are open. And if you're traveling by metro, then the nearest metro station is Noida sector 15, and the exact address for our new center is C171/2 block A sector 15 Noida. And if you want to know about the exact location, then the link is provided in the description box. And then the UPSC Foundation batch in Lucknow is starting from 23rd of December, and in Delhi it is also starting from 23rd of December. So this is the right opportunity for you if you want to be taught by the best offline faculties. And looking into your preparation for the year 2025 for both prelims and mains coverage, Drishti IAS has come up with a new program, and that is Sambhav 2025. Few of the features are, in this you will get 10 MCQs daily plus 2 mains answer writing questions. So your MCQ preparation and your answer writing practice both will be taken care of. Plus you will also be getting the in-depth analysis of previous year questions, plus the complete coverage of the general studies paper, plus the current affairs and many other features also. Now let us get back to the news. So the Supreme Court, while hearing a PIL, and the PIL was with regard to that, can the POSH Act be applied to the political parties? Now, first of all, what does POSH Act stands for? It talks about the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act of 2013. So this act was passed in the year 2013, and what was the basis of this act was the Vishakha Guidelines. So Vishakha Guidelines was the base for the 2013 POSH Act. So Prevention of Sexual Harassment for Women. So be very clear in this, that this act is for women. Then can the POSH Act be applied on the political parties or not? So Supreme Court was hearing this PIL. And what did the court say in this? So what did the Apex Court say? So the Apex Court said that the approach to this should be given by the Election Commission of India, because it is the Election Commission of India which is the main polling authority in India, and the competent authority with regard to the political parties would be, or is, the Election Commission of India. So the Apex Court of India has said that this directive needs to come from the Election Commission of India, that whether the POSH Act can be applied to the political parties or not. Now, what does POSH Act stands for, or what is POSH Act, or what POSH Act applies to? So first of all, POSH Act is the Prevention of Sexual Harassment for Women at Workplace. This act was passed in the year 2013, and the basis was the Vishakha Guidelines. And under this act, if the company has more than 10 employees, if the company has more than 10 employees, then the company needs to set up a internal complaints committee. So if we talk about the internal complaints committee, complaints committee is led by a woman. In every organization, there needs to be a internal complaints committee if the number of employees is more than 10, and the ICC needs to be led by a female, and minimum 4 members needs to be in the ICC, and out of these 4 members, 50% members needs to be females. So this is about the ICC. And if a company has less than 10 employees, then ICC will not be formed, then the local committee will be formed there. And when we talk about POSH, so when we say the term sexual harassment, so sexual harassment can be both physical and non-physical. So it can be in the form of anyone is touching or anyone is staring in a manner that the other person feels insecure, or the body language. So it consists of everything. Then the aggrieved person is a female. So if we talk about the section 3 clause 1 of the POSH Act, it states that no woman shall be subjected to sexual harassment at any workplace. Workplace means that a place where the female is going for work. So no woman shall be subjected to sexual harassment at any workplace. So this is what the POSH Act talks about, and the aggrieved party here is a woman. And now the term workplace. Now workplace, that term is a very expensive term. So what do you mean by the term workplace? So the POSH Act talks about that workplace includes any organization or institution, and this is in two respects. What is the public sector workplace and what is a private sector workplace? So when we talk from the respect of public sector, so a workplace means an organization which is established, owned, controlled, or wholly or substantially financed by funds provided directly or indirectly by the appropriate government. So this is the definition of the public sector workplace. Now coming to the private sector workplace. So a private sector workplace means hospitals, nursing homes, sports venues, house, or even covers location visited by an employee during the course of employment. It means like imagine you work for a company and then you have to go for 2 hours or 3 hours outside of the company premises and needs to attend a meeting in a hotel. Now that span of 3 hours when you are not present in your company premises but are on an official visit, so that official visit will also come under the private sector or workplace. So if anything wrong happens in that period of time also, then also it will come under the POSH Act. Now this is about the POSH Act and the meaning of the term workplace. Now let us talk about the scenario of a political party, because political party scenario is a bit difficult scenario, because in usually an organization there is an employer, there is an employee, and then the employee-employer relationship, the POSH Act can be applied there, or the internal complaints committee can be formed there. But in case of a political party, there is a question with regard to the employer and the employee relationship. Now who is an employer in a political party? This is the question, and the answer looks very different in this. So when we talk about the political party scenario, so on the subject of political party, the court, so till now what the court have said is that the court has said that there is no employer-employee relationship with its members. So the court has said that with regard to the political party, the employee-employer relationship that needs to be present with regard to the POSH Act, that is not present with the political party. So there is no employee-employer relationship with its members, and the political parties do not carry out any private venture, undertaking, enterprises, institution, establishment, etc. in contemplation of a workplace under the POSH Act, because the POSH Act talks about the employee-employer relationship, and with regard to the political party there is no employee-employer relationship because there is no employer. Then the court held that political parties are not liable to make any internal complaints committee. not liable to make any internal complaints committee. So this has been said by the court. But now the question that has been raised recently and is coming up, that the political party also needs to apply the POSH Act for their female workers. Now, what are the different scenarios that can POSH Act apply to political parties? What can be the points that how can it apply? So, according to the Representation of People Act 1951, it governs how to register a political party. So, first of all, the political party needs to be a registered political party. And the section 29A talks about any association or body of individual citizens of India calling itself a political party must make an application for registration with the Election Commission of India. So the political party needs to be a registered political party, and the registered political party where it will register, so the political party needs to be registered with the Election Commission of India. Then what does the application detail contains of a political party? It contains the name of the party, state where its head office is situated, the name of the office bearers, details of local units, number of members, memorandum of rules and regulations, and the party shall bear true faith and allegiance of the Constitution of India. So these are the application details. Plus sexual harassment in the workplace, which can be difficult to determine for a political party. Now this is also a point that the political party, the point of determination of sexual harassment is also difficult, because there are so many people who work for a political party at the ground level. So it becomes very difficult to determine that whether the sexual harassment has taken place or not. So for that, what needs to be done is, first of all, let us talk about the party workers. So the party workers which are hired temporarily to operate on the field without a defined workplace. Now these are the people who possess the most challenge, because they do not share a worker or they do not share a employee-employer relationship, and they are hired on temporary basis and no defined workplace is there for them. Then if the court or the Election Commission of India does decide to make the POSH Act applicable to political parties, first of all, what they have to do is, they will have to clarify who the employer is in the context of a political party. So the employee-employer relationship needs to be very clear. So for that, they need to define that who the employer is. If there is a political party, then in that political party, the employer, who is the employer there? So the employer is responsible for setting up the ICC to handle cases of sexual harassment at the workplace. So if the employer at a workplace is responsible for the setting up of the ICC, and a political party consists of many members, so they consist of very obviously more than 10 members. So who is a employer? Because the employer will set up the ICC. So in that case, the most important part in the political party is that there needs to be a clarity that who is the employer in a political party, and this is where the main problem lies. Then if we talk about the workplace concept, then the workplace under the POSH Act include locations visited by an employee during the course of employment. So in this, the workers who work on ground level can be included, because they visit locations during the course of employment, but for them, their employer is not clear. Then comes the point of employee. So employee includes people who are employed temporarily, contract workers or volunteers with or without the knowledge of the principal employer. Now this is the point where the most notice needs to be put on. Let me read it out again for you. Employee includes people who are employed temporarily. So even if the person is employed temporarily, it can be included under the definition of employee. Contract workers. So with political parties, many people are hired on contractual basis. Or volunteers. Volunteers are also there with or without the knowledge of the principal employer. So even if volunteers are not very clear about who the employer is, then also they will be under the act. Then this is the point of employee. So the employee aspect is very, very clear. So if these are the things with regard to the employee and employer is managed, then the POSH Act can be applied to the political parties. And the main problem is, who is the employer in a political party? Because the definition of employee, the temporary workers, contractual workers, volunteers can all be included in it. So that can be done, but who is a employer? Now, what happens in a political party? The political party consists of people. There are members who the number goes in thousand many a times, but all these people who are working on the ground level for a political parties, they are not aware about who their employer is. And if we talk about India's scenario, then the many big political parties in India, they do not consist of ICC, the Internal Complaints Committee, they do not consist of. Now, as the Supreme Court has said that the competent authority is the Election Commission of India in this regard of giving directions or directives whether the POSH Act can be applied to political parties or not. So the Supreme Court has given the responsibility towards the Election Commission of India, and the Election Commission of India basically derives its powers or authority from the Article 324 of the Constitution, and it talks about the power of superintendence, direction and control of elections to the Parliament, State Legislature, Office of President and the Office of the Vice President. And these powers are further strengthened by the Representation of People Act. And the Election Commission of India in the previous instances has also shown that they can give directives. In the previous instance of the Right to Information Act, they have given directives with regard to the information commissioners, and now they need to give certain directives, or they have the authority that they can give directives with regard to the POSH Act applicability on the political parties, and how they will, or how the POSH Act will be applicable. What will be the scenario of the employer situation in the POSH Act with regard to the political parties? Now in the end, a prelims MCQ, and like always, you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section. So the POSH law requires how many minimum number of employees to form an internal complaints committee where a formal sexual harassment complaint can be filed by a woman? 10, 15, 20 or 25? We have discussed this in the video. I'm sure you people will give me the answer in the comment section. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time. Keep reading, keep writing and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.